Right, welcome to the update. Yes, the update is our discussion program on Click Naija, where we bring trending issues, to discuss. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. And today we actually do.
Yep, we have someone live with us in the studio. But like we said, the update is a place where we talk about all the trending things that are happening today. We want to enter into the political. My name is Ehi Ohiani.
My name is Makchit Rinda.
And of course, we have I want to know Lady Lady Ejiro Umukoro, as she is a policy advocate and the spokesperson of Abubakar Bukola Saraki Campaign. She's a multi-award winning
media executive.
Exactly. And she's an author.
Yes, I am an author.
Lady E, welcome.
A pleasure to be here with you, ladies. You look awesome.
Thank you. And you look, what's this color? Is it red or is it
hibiscus red?
Okay. Can you beat that?
Hibiscus red.
At least I've learned something already.
So with this hibiscus red, we have found ourselves in the political arena or the political zone. There's a lot happening right now in the political scene in Nigeria. There's the drama going on. The primaries have just, we are in the season of the primaries. Mm-hmm. And we've seen so much drama and saga with the delegate thing. On social media now, one of the things that is trending is, fear delegates, and things like that. We've had situations where we've started seeing results from the different primaries at the different levels. Some persons have won, and we have a lot of persons who have lost. We have cases or stories where they are saying that some aspirants have gone back to delegates to say, return my money, from what we call the grapevine, even though we can't put a face to this grapevine, So it looks like a whole mumble jumble of activities going on right now. And then we have the women on the other side. And women have always, stood at the point where let women have their say, let women have their place in politics. Where or what is the place of women in this entire scenario that is playing out right now in the Nigerian politics?
Yes. Nigerian women have a lot this time around. For the first time in a very long time, we've actually had more women pick up the nomination forms. We've had a situation, for example, the PDP had over 250 women who picked up the nomination. I mean, expression of interest forms. And if you look at things across the various parties, at least you could see no less than 3 women who came in at the presidential level saying we want to vie.
Yeah.
Now that's commendable in itself. But the difference here is that, and again, incidentally, some parties haven't understood that women make up 52% of the Nigerian population, at least 52%. They're beginning to understand that we have to get that block of women. In other words, there's a dynamism that is happening now. Prior to this time, nobody saw the women bloc as a powerful bloc that can determine votes, that can determine the elective aspiration of somebody emerging. But now they're beginning to see that there's a consciousness among Nigerian women to be more aware on the first point, then to be more conscious about, I have a role here. Then the third level to be now intentional about, my role requires me to take certain actions. And in taking certain actions, it means certain activities have to be engaged in. And if these activities are going to be engaged in, it also means that there's a lot of work to do in terms of the funding machinery, in terms of the mobilization. You talk about how do you navigate the political space, the landmine, the horse trading, and all of that kind of conversation. This is a space that is new for many women. Not to mention the fact that only more recently is when women began to break the business glass ceiling. You know that. So the glass ceiling in the business world, women have shattered quite a number of spaces. But that is a different kind of experience. But if you have a boardroom game experience, it gives you an edge to come into the political space, because that's a lot of horse trading. That's where chess is played, mental chess. You mark my move, I mark your move. And when you see all of this kind of conversation happening, and the Gen Z generation, you notice that the Gen Z generation are more vibrant, more vocal about who they want to represent them at the leadership position. And young women are more in that category, just as you have enough men in that category. So if you look at it with the way we are now in Nigeria, 2022 happens to have been the most vibrant year ever for women. In terms of participation. But when it comes to being elected, when it comes to be a large number in the delegate system we now have, with regards to the recent Electoral Act, 84 Section 8, where all of these things are pegged down, you discover that we actually have lesser women. Because now for the primaries, it's required that the delegates bring in one, a special delegate, and two, one other person from the persons living with disability group. They should come from that sector. And you have these two major delegates, right, coming into this space. The question we ask is, how many are women? Now, the data has revealed that there are much more men in these delegates than women, which raises the question, is it a tougher place for women to be, or is it that women are ignorant on how to play their cards?
Right. Exactly. So I think you've really raised several issues. You've raised issues around the laws, the bills, and all that. You've also raised issues around the terrain and how it's been played. Is it, should the terrain change for the woman, or is it the woman that should rise up to the occasion and all that? But let's quickly share with you on how you can join us on this show and participate. Drop your comments right now live, and I've shared the link with you. I'm sure you can share. So please go ahead and click your share button, and remember that you can follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. We are live at the moment. We are Click Naija on both platforms. We can also tweet at us. We are Click Naija 1.
Yeah, and of course, we're also live on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube, Facebook and YouTube. Continue the conversation. So please, whichever part of the conversation comes across to you, go ahead, drop your comments. A lot of controversial issues here and there, but let's get this. And throw any question you have. She's right here to give you the right answers.
Yes, all right. So if you're just joining us, this is still Click Naija, and today we are focusing on the role of women in bringing about the desired change in the upcoming elections. Now, our guest today, Lady Ejiro Umukoro, I hope I got that right, has touched on a couple of things which we would like to dissect in the course of the program. But yes, you can share your comments and your questions. All right, so for the upcoming 2023 general elections, we have 5 women who have purchased their forms so far on the different platforms. How would you rate this improvement, so to speak? I mean, you pointed out that for this time we have more women, participating in the process, wanting to be elected. How would you rate this improvement overall?
No, it's a good thing, seeing it coming as it is. The only thing women need to begin to understand is, with the way politics is now, you have to have your own antecedents. You have to have your own record of outstanding performance. You cannot come in naive, and you cannot come in without a proper slate to show that you have something to offer. Even for men, that tends to play out as it is. The difference is that because you have more men in the space, it's easy for them to be mentored by other men. You have lesser women in the space. And those who have been there in the space, the reality on ground is perhaps they are not even doing enough in mentoring other women. But that is not to say that there are not many groups. In fact, there are so many groups now emerging, from the women in politics and other kinds of groups that I know of. They're beginning to now intentionally train women to be in the space. But if you're going to be in this space, it'll be worse if you say you're a presidential aspirant and you are brought into a media conversation live on TV, and they ask you, what is your economic plan? And you can't speak to it. So what you do is, why is bold to take the step and go as high as that at the presidential level? The question should be, are you really prepared for this position, or do you just want visibility? Men have also used that carrot stick, as it were, where they say, just go take the highest form, so that people will go, wow, you mean saying collect this form? Do you get? So it gives you immediate visibility. But the question is, what do you use with that visibility? Do you just want to be there seen and then not heard? So while I am happy that we're having more women coming, the sad case is that at the level of the National Assembly, if care is not taken, we're going to have lesser women a situation where we're beginning to see that women are being threatened. We've seen reports like that coming out, showing that women are being threatened to step down for incoming governors who have seen the National Assembly as retirement homes. We've got a problem. I have been met specifically, told and confessed to by very important persons who have told me categorically that, look, we're not coming back. And when I asked them, well, aren't you coming back? They say they've been threatened by their state governors not to come back.
Wow.
Now, when you see that happens, take note, it also happens to men. So our conversation
reaction is different to those threats.
So, funny enough, there are many men who have walked down, they back down. I know many instances. It's just that you don't see it on public.
Is it that women have more at stake when it comes to those kinds of threats?
It's the same stake. I wouldn't want to make it look as if women are not capable or, oh, now woman not going to handle them. No, there are women who have handled worse things.
In March 2022, the National Assembly declined the accents of the gender bill, which proposed amendments even to the Electoral Act, which would have in turn affected the number of appointive positions, and stuff like that, both in all cadre of our polity. Now, when that happened, there was a lot of reaction from women groups, and things like that. But when it comes to the real game itself, that kind of galvanizing of women to come together to react and protest against that action that the National Assembly took, you really do not see it. So where lies the gap when it comes to women, putting themselves together to form this formidable force, strong enough that can push and encourage and kind of like be a back, because whether you like it or not, there's a kind of system that many men fall back on, like you said, mentorship, and things like that. So what's that gap? What is it that exists there?
In the political space, women have not been there for a long time. We're talking about generations and generations and generations. So there have not been proper handover. But I will say this, there are now a number of civil society groups. And while they've been existing on the ground, as it were, we're now seeing them coming out more visibly. So what we have here now is women understanding that these groups exist who will support other women. The National Assembly instance you gave is a good one. They were a coalition of at least 9 women. I have their names there, I'll roll it out later on. 9 group of civil society. They came together, those in the space of law, those in the space of business, those in different spaces.
Exactly.
They came together.
Even
and they made
some government officials' wives came together.
They joined in. They
added their voice.
You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So we're seeing that wake up. That's why I started with that conversation earlier, that we have moved from a point of, oh, I am aware, to being now more conscious and being intentional about it. So what will happen going forward for women is this. We should understand that this space, we have to take ownership. If you don't take ownership, nothing comes to you. So we need more women to understand that if you're going to have the galvanizing, for example, like women who have come out to say, I've been threatened, there should be a coalition of women. Women can go to and say, look, this is what I'm experiencing. How do we fight this back?
Yeah.
Because men fight back as well. And women should understand that you have to be able to fight back. But that's not to say that when you look at what you have in your hand, there's a time to stoop to conquer. You have to do what you have to do. But this is why when you now have a situation like this, it's important that women begin to find allies. Allies in men who believe in them.
So it's more like a collaborative thing. It's not just about women trying to collaborate with themselves. It's finding how to collaborate with whoever it is.
You expand your network. You create allies. Allies in women groups, ally in men groups. You have to create allies across board, and you have to know how to play this game itself.
Okay, speaking about women being threatened, in Plateau State, a woman was kidnapped. And she was vying for the position of the representative of Kwan and local government area. And she was kidnapped because when she was going to meet delegates on the day of primaries. Now, apparently, according to the story, she was supposed to meet them a day before, that was on Wednesday, but they moved this meeting to Thursday morning at 5:30. Now, 5:30 a.m. Yes, and people have complained that sometimes meeting hours is something that has cut the women off from political parties and political processes and all that. So what are your thoughts on this now? This woman being kidnapped, talking about allies. She probably had allies. She was going to meet delegates and all that. But what
delegates at 5:30 a.m.
5:30 a.m. Now, I mean, of course the story will still come out, but yes, what do you, what do you think about this scenario now and the threats that women face in such scenarios?
Well, I would try not to make it as if it's a women problem.
Okay.
Because insecurity is a general problem. So I would say when you're in a space where insecurity is a big issue, you have to step up your intelligence in terms of security and level of exposure as well. Um, she should have understood. Let us also understand that, look, even the intel, how do you share your intel also matters as well. So she needs to begin to look at who are the people surrounding me. Are they trustworthy? Are they reliable? I'm saying this in the hindsight lessons that one can learn for somebody else who is also aspiring in that position. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about the timing, because the nature of politics will demand ungodly hours, like they would say. But they are not ungodly hours. They just happen to be the hours that are available. Because whether you like it or not, let us remove this propaganda being sold that women cannot go for meeting at 2 a.m. Let us remove that.
So maybe that word ungodly hour is even a problem.
That's why I said, so there's no ungodly. That's why I corrected it instantly, that there's nothing like an ungodly hour. All hours are important. The question is, what are you trying to achieve? Because 24 hours is quite small for a number of activities to be achieved. But if you know how to structure your time, here is what I would say for that kind of a situation. It would be nice for more women groups to come on board and say, look, let's look into this. It would also be nice that the security apparatus take it upon themselves. That's their job. It's what they are hired to do. And going forward, I think one should just be more intelligently astute with regards to managing their own security.
So still talking about, what I mean, even if we decide not to use the word ungodly hours, that is the general phrase that you hear.
Let us understand that it's a propaganda. It's like the propaganda when they tell young people or even adults who have bought into it, and so sadly, your votes don't count. They told you so that you will not come and vote, and you bought the lie. It's a propaganda. So they stop you from it. You now suffer from what is called voters' apathy. They are now happy because nobody is there to now say, okay,
so it serves their interest.
It serves their interest. So we must understand when something is a propaganda, because even the men, they leave their children to go for meetings. The children, is it owned by a woman alone? No. It is a mother and a father to parent a child.
The children miss the father's presence at night as much as they miss the mother's presence.
So that's the conversation we need to rechange the narrative.
So it boils down to the patriarchy we face in Nigeria.
This is part of how you break the patriarchy.
Oh yes, so that's
demolishing it, because it's a propaganda. Patriarchy is also a propaganda. We must understand it. Patriarchy is a propaganda against what? Against the advancement of women. It's as simple as that. It's very misogynistic.
All right, so we have a comment here from Jennifer Ogo. She says the role of women in the society is highly underestimated. A lot of their potentials are shoved under the table. Let's promote the rights of women by educating them and making women have a voice in all spheres of the society. Hashtag don't lose your voice. Hashtag we have a voice.
Yeah,
I like that. That's quite good.
Yes. But can we talk about practical ways now? Let's say for the young women, for the young girls, the young ladies.
Talking about young girls or young ladies, I know there was a young woman who came out sometime in January this year and declared her interest to become the president of Nigeria. What happened to her interest? I think after some time.
She's actually still, from my research, she's still
Oh, okay. I thought she dropped that interest after a while.
So the five ladies, Uju Ohaneye under the APC, Benedicta Egbo, National Rescue Movement, Khadija Okunu Lamidi, that's the younger lady, Social Democratic Party, Ife Ofokansi, Africa Democratic Party, and Nonye Ezeaneche. That's the senior citizen.
And I hear she's 102.
Yes, 102-year-old lady. And she's actually been active, politically active through the years. And she said, if the young women will not come out to do this, why not? If she's capable, she will run for.
Let's hope she's mentored quite a number as well in the process, because I think our voice at that point that person is making clear about voice. What is voice? Voice means not just only in speaking. It's good to speak up, but you have to match your speak with your actions. So you asked the earlier question, how can women be more engaged in it? Let me quickly roll out some of those group of women I talked about. There are various groups. You have the Nigerian Women Trust Fund. They are quite focused on seeing that they really fund women who are serious. I met with them because I wanted to know really why are they, what do they do? And then you have the Women Empowerment and Legal Aid. So if you have a legal issue, they are here. We have the Women in Politics Forum. I got to talk with them in detail, and they tell me they train women specifically on how to do what? Handle governorship debates, presidential debates, the things you need to know about. That's a good conversation.
Very good.
So you have Center for Democracy and Development. You also have Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center, the Vision Spring Initiatives, as well as YAGA, who fought for the not too young to run bill. So you see all of these groups exist. But the question is, when people do research, do you research to look for these kinds of groups? They exist, and people should, women deliberately, the way you spend money to buy that ashwebi or to go for that barrier, please put money together and go for such training to be exposed on how to handle stuff like this. And earlier on, I said about women having allies. Sometimes if your mentor is going to be a male, let your mentor be a male. I have the privilege of being given such a privilege too. Like, I was doing what I was doing, and invitation was sent to me that, look, come, because we talk about voices, come and be a spokesperson to, for example, Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki. It's because I was doing something. Some people found about me and say, oh, let us recommend her that she can do this job. That is one thing. The recommendation can be one thing.
Yeah.
The next thing is, will you take the job? Are you going to take it? So I realize
some persons are capable, but they still won't.
They won't do it. That is part of the problem we have with women. I don't know where they get certain kind of fear from, or shyness, or imposter syndrome. No, I'm giving you the reasons. So many reasons: fear, shyness, imposter syndrome, and self-sabotage. We call it the Pygmalion effect. When you, on your own, tell yourself, no, you're not qualified to do this. So women should stop, using limiting words that limit them. And if a male mentor is somebody you can learn from, if you don't see enough female mentors to learn from, then go and learn from a male mentor. Go look for them, work with them, get the experience, be exposed to how things are done. And that's how you have a record. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's where we women should begin to look. Among the presidential aspirants coming in now, such women who are in the capacity they are too now, they could be even thinking of, what if my capacity is not enough to get the delegates to get me in? What if I can get a vice presidential ticket? So the conversation should not be, oh, let me just come out and be visible. Your visibility should have a strategic goal. Could I also form allies with somebody like this man and say, let's think about a VP in this context? But the question is, have you put yourself out there enough to be identified by someone like Dr. Saraki, for example?
I think the putting out there is where it all starts.
Correct.
And where the issues are. Many women don't know how to put themselves out. They don't even know what to put themselves out there about or for. Do you understand?
Yes, but okay, like this issue of putting oneself out. I mean, in 2011, Sarah Jibrin put herself out there, right?
The start of the exposure of how women were disconnected from the political space.
Okay, because so now, how do we analyze what went wrong in that time and what makes this time different now? Because people say, for instance, women don't support women. Personally, I have a problem with that statement.
It's a propaganda.
Yes.
It's a propaganda to divide the women further and then to initiate negative emotions in women towards other women. It's a propaganda.
Okay, but so then what can we say went wrong in Sarah Jibrin's case?
In Sarah Jibrin's case, I love that incident. Anytime I go back to it, I'm like, this woman showed every single Nigerian what the problem has been in women in participation and politics. Because what she revealed to us in that incident was that, over the years, women have only been used as women mobilizers. They have been so rewired with that same propaganda. Women don't support women because that's what the men sell to them, even when they have a conversation. So we need to get to a point where women understand that, oh my God, I have the capacity. I should be negotiating better and not be a footmat that people step on and use to their own end goal, but I get nothing in return.
The program is the update on Click Naija online radio. I think we have another comment. Let's take that.
Yes, we do. Okay, so this is from Ihoma Ukeje. She says, Aisha Tudahiru Binani wins Adamawa APC governorship primaries and defeats former governor Bindal, Nuhu Ribadu, and Namdas. This is great news coming from Adamawa. Nigerian women still have a long way to go to be politically relevant, but this is a good start.
I agree.
Right?
Another yay!
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
Okay, so now about this, I mean, Adamawa is a northern state, and people would think that, maybe in the far north they are probably not as open to females, taking leadership positions as maybe their counterparts in other parts of the country, for instance. What do you think was different? Do you have any thoughts on this?
I will have to use a good example to
Mhm.
buttress this, and I'm going to name a name to that end so that people can see what I'm trying to say here.
Mhm.
As far back as 2003, 2007, there was one state, only one state in the whole of Nigeria that gave women as chairpersons in all the local government, be it advice or be it as the main chairman of the council. Which state was this? It was in Kwara. Did it make news then?
Hmm.
Where were the women in the National Assembly when such a thing was done?
Even in the media to push
Even
out
in,
all that.
I'm coming small. I wanted to hammer you with small.
Oh
The
no,
hammer I wanted to come with. But that's how
hammered
I'm
it
to.
already.
So you get what I'm trying to say? We did not hear that news
At all.
transcend that when Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki was governor of that state. Take note, I'm saying 2003, 2007.
Yeah.
Do you know how many years ago that is?
back.
Yes.
He did that. But we do not have states replicating that as we should be doing everywhere. Where am I going with this conversation? When you have a male ally who believes in women and is intentional about enabling women into elective positions, which are decision-making spaces, not women, oh yeah, you will see this change happen. Take note, Kwara is a corn-north area too, where certain religious beliefs are really entrenched. Yet he was able to move these men and say, gentlemen, our women too matter. And I'm seeing that playing out, for example, in this case we're talking about. And what we're saying is this: when women understand that power is not given, it can be negotiated for, it can also be taken. Once we have that change in our engineering mindset, to re-engineer our mindset, we will see that when we go out to meet, when you go market now, you come with knowledge now, because you've always been in the market space.
Mhm.
So when you're going into the political space now, what do? You do the same thing.
So, talking about, I mean, like what you said, it's a very, very good example. The example that we just saw from the comment is another very good one about Aisha Dahiru and all that. When it comes to, I know, like, for example, I've not really seen many political parties or aspirants have a female as their spokesperson. I don't know if, yes.
I think I broke a record here.
You did, right? Share.
There's no female spokesperson in the entire campaign organization of any party except this currently.
Oh,
Dr.
really?
Bukola Saraki.
So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But that mentality, I don't know if you would also put it in the place or categorize it as a propaganda as well. That mentality that, oh, okay, maybe they're just doing it so that they can get soft landing, like as though it's a strategy.
Okay.
By the men once again. Do you understand?
I get what you mean.
Yes.
I get what
is
you
that
mean.
also a propaganda, or is it a reality, or is it what exactly? Where should we place that? Is it something we should jettison and just say, look?
Okay, there's something I know about what has happened, and I'm going to use both parties in this context so that they'll create balance in this our conversation. The APC gave women free forms, no be so. As we speak now, the PDP already has a policy, calls it the women policy for politics and involvement. So there's an awareness that, oh my goodness,
we need to do something.
Women do have voice.
Okay.
Women can contribute. Women have competence. Women have capacity. Women have the enabling nature and decision-making powers to be able to be part of the political process. And they know that with the awareness and the awakening in amongst the women, if they don't get more women to participate, they're going to lose a large chunk of blocks. In fact, there are groups who are already giving ultimatums to political parties to say, if you don't have enough women representation, you're not going to get our women's vote. That's women speaking. That's a women's strategy.
Are they using their votes to? Are they using their votes to threaten now, or they're using their votes?
It's
to
a
get
negotiating pitch.
I like that.
They're negotiating with that.
For you, I mean, being presently, there are probably there according to what you said, we do not even have any other female spokesperson, across board so far. What has the reception been like for you occupying a position like this? How has it been? What has it been welcoming, or has it been one of those things that you have a lot of stories to tell?
I think many people have been astounded by it. And especially when you go for political discourse in certain stations, as it is in media, for example, and questions are thrown at you, and they throw some very hard ball at you, and then you handle it with calm, dignity, and professionalism. They just look at you and just go, "Oh, this is too much." And you could tell there's outright surprise, and I've gotten a lot of commendation for it, for which I'm grateful and humbled by it. But at the same time, I feel that there are a lot more women who can even do as I do, or even much more than I do. It's about finding them. And it's also about these women. Please take it. Please take it.
There's a call here. Lady Ejiro is calling out to all women. Please take it. Take it. Okay. So I think they also need that enabling environment and support, especially family. I know women always put family first. That's always
I think women should also ask, do men actually put the family first?
But
is money the definition of putting the family first? You are an absentee father. Your children don't see you at home. They grew up without father influence and positive impact. You have missed as a father. The cases we have today where many children, there's a lot of delinquency, young people, there's a lot of unnecessary behavior that you see in young persons, is because there's no father who was present in their lives, not present with gifts, not present with holidays,
money.
No, not present with money. A father who is truly present and having conversations with his children,
doing assignments. Presence.
Yes, present and having presence in the lives of the children, correct. You're doing assignments with your children. You're going to the school to find out from their lecturers how are they doing, even without your child knowing. You're dropping them off at school if you have to. You know what I mean? Be present while you are also in presence of your children's life. It doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, what the conversation is showing this. There are some women who are blessed with the gift of political, how would they call this? They are politically savvy. You as a man, if you're not politically savvy and you have a wife who is politically savvy, give it to her. Support her. Just like if you have a dream, anytime I remember Michelle Obama and her husband, Barack Obama, it rings a bell every time. Why? Barack wanted this. Michelle did not want to be in politics. She fought against it, but then she understood something. This is her husband's dream.
Yeah.
If this is how I'm going to show I am your love and I support you, then I would do it. So they came to a point of agreement before the marriage became almost to hit the rock at some point. So they came to an agreement and said, okay, this is what we'll do and this is how we're going to make it happen. It's the same thing. Men should learn to understand that in supporting your wife, you're supporting somebody you love, you're supporting somebody who you believe in.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Lady Ejiro Umukoro, a policy advocate and the spokesperson of the Abubakar Bukola Saraki Campaign. I don't want to ask you how is it going. Let's not go there.
We wait to the primaries tomorrow. It's going to happen tomorrow, so we're just gonna go to the primaries tomorrow, and inshallah we leave everything in God's hand, like they say.
All right, so unfortunately, we'll have to draw the curtain on today's edition of the updates exclusive to Click Naija Radio. Thank you to our guests, Lady Ejiro, for being here. You were wonderful, and I'm sure our listeners, our viewers, have learned something. I know I have. But if you have any more questions, if you have any comments, the conversation continues. On Facebook, we are Click Naija. On YouTube, we are Click Naija. On Twitter and Instagram, we are Click Naija 1.
And trust me, Ejiro is still there. I'm sure if you drop your questions or your comments, you will still get responses. I mean, the conversation never ends here on Click Naija. And of course, you can join us live on our website, www.clicknaija.gov.ng. You get all the latest and fascinating news you need as a young person in Nigeria. And we'll be here again by Monday with the updates. My name is Ehi Ohiani. Thank you so much for being
Pleasure
here.
to be here with you ladies.
My name is Machit Rindab. Enjoy your day.